I just wish they were like somewhere in the middle with their scoring. Like they have 2 games where they scored 6 goals and 4 goals. And that's like, wow, we did the episode after the 3rd game when they had 6-0 and then 4 goals. And you're like, what? They have 10 goals in 3 games. Like that's actually pretty good. And the expected goal numbers are high. And the expected goal numbers are still relatively high through the first 6 games of the year. But when you have 3, literally half of your games where you score 0, that's not salvageable. You're not giving yourself any chance.
You're really not. And yeah, I guess this is where we start. I also remember that 2 weeks ago we're going, the offense looks great. 3 shutouts. They got shut out twice since that podcast. It's like they heard us and said, no, you're not. You are going to look dumb instantaneously. It's really, really frustrating because it's the beginning of the year, right? And the highs and lows are completely out of whack. We can have one really strong game and everyone's like, here we go. Yes, it's going to happen this year in terms of just doing well. And then the next game we could be shut out 1-0 by the Detroit Red Wings and the world is falling apart. And it's impossible to argue with those feelings because you've watched the games, you've seen it. You're like, I felt the high of the high from the win, and I'm feeling the crushing low from this loss, and it's hard to find somewhere in the middle. Even when you look at the expected goals, you're like, sure, there might be high, I guess, but it's not enough to be like, whoo, yeah, great, we're an elite team, which we aren't.
No, which that's kind of one of the main things that I wanted to bring up in this. Like, expected goals is good. That shows that you're creating chances, but that's not enough for me. It's really not. And maybe this is like my boomer take, or my old man, shakes his fist at the sky, being like, those damn analytics. But I'm not really meaning it that way. But the point is, that's all well and good, but you have to convert on these chances too. And I'm not saying it has to be your expected goals and total goals number have to be 1 for 1, but you have to be relatively close, which they're frankly not. They're nowhere even remotely close to that.
No, 13.14 expected goals, 8 goals scored. At 5-on-5, mind you. I haven't done the all strength. Maybe that looks a little bit better, but expected goals in all situations for the New York Islanders, 19th in the league, by the way, at 19.01, and they've scored 13. So they've scored 6 goals below expected this year.
Yeah, that's too many for this short amount of time.
1 goal per game, minimum, on average, hasn't been scored. Yeesh.
That's a big issue. That's a massive, massive issue for this team. We figured goal scoring would be a part of it, the team's problems, but then also too, you lose Anthony Duclair, who's on your top line, and now you have to put Simon Holmstrom up there, who that's not what his game is. He's a bottom 6 guy, and I know we hit on this in the last episode, and I know we hit on this in the post-game show on YouTube last night, but that's what's going on with this team right now. Their issues feel like they're carrying over year, where depth is questionable, there's an injury, and you're screwed because you don't have said depth or no one else to come in and score goals.
Yeah, I don't want to be so doom and gloomy because we spent a few podcasts ago talking about it's not that bad, where it's not falling apart, where it's just not going to start it's the same thing again because it's still early in the year. It's hard to shake that. I will agree. I'm still holding on hope. I think this team is still doing well enough where they will be fine. And when I mean fine, I mean live up to our expectations at the beginning of the year, which was 3rd, 4th in the Metropolitan Division. And I think 3rd, even when we said that, we both of us agree that may have been the lofty end of the expectation. I think they're still fine for that as it stands now. But it is hard to hold on to that when you see displays like we saw, specifically against Detroit. And you're like, what is happening? They just didn't have it. They put up decent numbers, but it was clearly not enough. Alex Lyon he wasn't even good. He was fine, but we made him look great because we just weren't moving the puck around very much.
No,
quickly enough.
Which again is a whole other issue, right? That's a whole nother problem and adds that extra element in. But it goes back to not having enough horses in the race to be able to convert on these chances. their guys aren't the guys that they do have aren't converting. It feels like Brock Nelson, Kyle Palmieri, Bo Horvat, and Kyle Horvat, Kyle Palmieri. Who am I
You
missing?
mean Anders Lee?
I guess maybe Anders Lee, but
Kyle? You said Kyle?
I think I said Kyle, but
Yeah.
moral of the story that maybe Siplikov, but they don't have a ton of guys who can convert.
I told everyone not to like hitch your wagon to Maxim Siplikov being a 30 goal scorer. I'm not saying he can't be. There's still another crap ton of games left, but like he started off well, and I enjoyed what I saw. It hasn't been to the same level so far. That's probably just because the games are coming way too thick and fast for him that he hasn't adapted yet. Maybe it's still to come,
I think it is.
but it's not looking fantastic just yet. If you like that, make sure to subscribe to Up the Turnpike on Patreon for more exclusive New York Islanders content.